Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now, Master Prabhu? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, and sorry to everyone, all the participants, they have to wait for all this while. So Prabhuji, we took a poll for the language.
Okay.
Almost 60% devotees have said English.
Okay.
Around 40% approximately devotees have said Hindi. So it sounds like it is going to be English. Hindi plus English.
Your book reading program is in which language?
Prabhuji, both the languages.
Okay, is it? Okay.
That's the reason we have audience from both.
Okay.
But we could not have two separate orientations, so we just have a common orientation.
Okay, okay. Then I'll speak in English and I'll summarize in Hindi.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshagavanmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Hushi Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Ancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the quota of 100 got over because it shows the enthusiasm of the devotees. How super enthusiastic they are to study Bhagavatam. It's a welcomeable problem. Very wonderful. Srimad Bhagavatam is such an amazing literature. When you read it, you learn about the facts of life in such a crystal clear manner. One of our brahmacharis, I saw his ears. He was having many pins in the ears. So I asked him, what are these pins? So many pins here, they have pinned you in the ears. What is it? So he said it is some kind of acupuncture. They are putting for some of the brahmacharis who are facing a lot of body pain due to COVID. So he was telling an interesting thing. He said, my body is paining, but not to relieve that pain, they have given me more pain than that pain. By putting these needles. Any of you have experience of getting these acupuncture needles in your bodies, in the back, or he's saying volume is low, he's saying. That's slow. Should I speak without it?
Yeah.
Now, how is it now? Is it all right now?
Yes, Prabhuji. All good.
So, in Prahlad Maharaj says, he says in one of the verses, Dukkha Ushadam Tadapi Dukkha Matadiyaham Bhuman Brahmami Vadame Tabadasya Yogam. He says that, my dear Lord, in this world, all living beings are trying to mitigate one type of pain. But they get even more greater pain. For example, in those days, we used to have horse carriages. I don't know how many of you devotees have been in a horse carriage. I am 54 now. So when I was a small kid, I have been in a horse carriage in our village. So it's such a comfortable ride it would be. There'll be grasses put inside the carriage and they'll put a sack over it and you can sit and the horse would ride it. Of course, the horse would pass stool here and there, which was also organic, not a serious problem. But now Prabhupada says they have converted the horse into horsepower motor cars in order to go faster so that They can have some accidents also, automobile accidents. Not only that, the automobiles don't pass too like the horse, which is organic. They pass carbon monoxide, which is deadly poisonous, causing air pollution in the cities. I saw in Pune station, the limit of pollution says it is 75, but the pollution counter shows it is 250. Yeah. Just imagine. So I asked the police, hey, showing 250, it is so way high above the limit of pollution. He said, what can we do? That's the city in which we are living in. So you can see man converted a horse into horse carriage into horse power, thinking he will make his life better, but he made his life worse. So that is material life. Like I told you, this brahmachari wearing these pins in his ears. In order to relieve the bodily pain, he has to incur another pain, which is a greater pain than the previous pain. That's what Prahlad says, Dukkaushadam tadapi dukkam atadviyaham bhuman brahmami vadame tavadasi yogam. Yasmat priya priya viyoga samyoga janma shokagnina sakalayo nishudahyamanaha dukkaushadam tadapi dukkam atadviyaham bhuman brahmami vadame tavadasya yogam. Oh, my dear Supreme Lord Krishna, when will you call me to your abode so I can serve your lotus feet? When will the time come? Or how long will I be wandering in this world where we try to mitigate one pain and we try to get happiness, but we get another type of pain? Like the Prahlad Maharaj is asking. He's saying, Yasmat Priya Apriya Samyoga Viyoga Janma. He's saying. Yeah. He says that you want to, certain situations are very pleasurable for you. You want to come in contact with them, but you are separated from them. Nowadays, you find that many people, newly married people, sometimes you find a wife has a job in one place, husband has a job in another city. They are only coming in the weekends to see each other. That they have to live separately. So they don't want to be separated, but they are forced by the destiny to be separated like that during the week for many days. On the other hand, one does not like to see his boss because boss keeps on giving new tasks and is very demanding, and he is giving the load of 5 people on one person. You don't want to meet him, but every day you have to meet him and report to him. You don't like to come in touch with something, but you have to come in touch. You don't want to be separated, but we are forced to be separated. That's the material world, he says. So, in the material world, all living beings want to make happiness unlimited and suffering zero. That's what everybody wants to make. It's called Atyantika Dukkha Pravritti, Atyantika Sukha Pravritti, Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti, we call it. So, actually, Srimad Bhagavatam is the literature which can expand our bliss unlimitedly in oceanic proportion. Because in the middle platform, there is always ups and downs. There are always turmoils, like the waves in an ocean. But if we can post our consciousness in spiritual platform, transcendental platform, that is actually the real platform of happiness and unity and everything that is positive. For example, the material world, we can say Jio. Material world means Jivo Jivasya Jivana. One living being becomes a food for another. Prabhupada says, I want to eat you and you want to eat me. Prabhupada says, that's the way every living being deals in this world. There is a competition amongst college students, school children. There is a competition amongst the businessmen. There is a competition amongst the countries. There is a competition amongst one family and another family for superiority and to pull down others. This world is a world of envy and competition. Whereas the spiritual world, Prabhupada explains in 1.1.2, he says that the spiritual world is a place of no competition. It's a competition-less world where all jivas are jio jinedo, live and let live. That is spiritual world. Material world means jivo jivasya jivanam. A fly is eaten by a frog, frog by a snake, snake is shot by a hunter. Always one living being becomes a food for another. Small businessmen are swallowed by bigger businessmen. Like that. Yeah. Bigger companies have swallowed smaller companies, isn't it? Bigger nations swallow smaller nations. So that is material world. So if we are really interested in putting a full stop to this type of ups and downs in the material world and experience everlasting happiness, then we have to promote ourselves from a material plane to spiritual plane. So one really wants to know how to do that. It is to go from Bhogavritti to Sevavritti. Bhogavritti has brought us to the material world. Sevavritti will take us back home, back to Godhead. So you know the word swasthya. Swa means one's own. Stha means to be situated. So comfortably situated in your own natural position is called swasthya. So the soul also in its natural comfortable position in the spiritual world is very happy at the lotus feet of Krishna, serving him as the eternal servant. So that's Sevavritti. But Bhogavritti is very artificial for us. To, like, imagine, for example, once a servant entered into the CEO's room, he was told to clean the room, the office. So CEO would generally come by 10 o'clock. So it was 9:45, he was sweeping the CEO's room. And then he looked at the CEO's table. It was very large glass table, and there was a rotating chair also. So the man who was sweeping, the peon who was sweeping the floor, was thinking, how nice if someday I can sit on that chair and I can also rotate in that chair. How nice it will be, he thought. So slowly he looked here and there, no one was there. So he sat in the chair and then looked here and there. And he could sit only for half a minute. He heard some sound, immediately jumped off from the chair, because if the CEO sees that he's sitting in his chair, he'll be out of the job. So now why was he afraid sitting in that chair? Why was he uncomfortable? Because he was trying to be an enjoyer, although he was a servant. And that is the situation of all jivas in this world. We are actually servant. If I put myself in my natural position, I'll be most happy. But if I artificially try to be a master, like that peon who was trying to sit in CEO's chair, I will always be in anxiety. Chada samudvignadhyam asadgrahat. Bhagavatam, Prahlad says this to his father. My dear father, you are in so much anxiety because you are putting yourself in an artificial position. You are not the predominator. You are predominated. You are not the master. You are servant of Krishna. You are not the enjoyer. You enjoy by serving Krishna. So in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam goes to the foundational principles. अभी तक मैंने 2 विषय बोला है शुरुआत से. मैं बता रहा था कि इस दुनिया में हम देखते हैं कि एक दुख को मिटाने के लिए हम कुछ उपाय ढूंढते हैं और वो उपाय हमें दूसरा दुख देता है. जैसे उन दिनों में घोड़ा का गाड़ी था, उसको छोड़कर इंसान ने मोटर कार तैयार किया, लेकिन मोटर कार से बहुत पोल्यूशन होता है, एक्सीडेंट्स भी होते हैं. इस तरह ऐसा नहीं कि हम इस दुनिया के दुखों से निवारण पा सकते हैं. आधुनिक इंसान कितना कितना विषयों का आविष्कार कर रहा है, लेकिन कुछ नहीं हुआ है. ये पहली बात मैं बता रहा था. मैं बता रहा था कि एक ब्रह्मचारी को देखा, कान में कुछ 4-5 ब्रह्मचारी बोलो कान में कुछ आकुपंचर का ये पाना है, क्योंकि उनको कोविड के कारण दर्द होता है शरीर में, तो वो लोग पिन लगाते हैं. तो वो बता रहे थे कि पिन से शरीर के दुख से भी ज्यादा दुख होता है. ऐसे बता रहे थे. इसका मतलब है हमें चुनना पड़ेगा, क्या तुमको चिमटी चाहिए, तुमको पिन चाहिए है. ये दुनिया ऐसा दुनिया है, एक दुख के बदले दूसरा दुख स्वीकारो. हम लोग सब दुखों को 0 बनाना चाहते हैं और सुख को असीमित मात्रा में प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं. आत्यंतिक सुख प्रवृत्ति, आत्यंतिक दुख निवृत्ति. लेकिन अगर वो करना हो तो हमें इस दुनिया से उस दुनिया में जाना पड़ेगा. फर्क क्या है इस दुनिया में उस दुनिया में? ये इस दुनिया में जीवो जीवस्य जीवनम, सब जीव एक दूसरे को शोषण कर रहे हैं. जैसे परिवार के बीच में झगड़ा है, जाति के बीच में झगड़ा है. इस दुनिया में एक देश और दूसरे देश के बीच में झगड़ा है. हम देखते हैं कि हमेशा भारत में भी कितने लोग पाश्चात्य देश के लोग आकर शासन करके गए. हमेशा डर होता है हमें इस दुनिया में. एक मक्खी को मेंढक खाता है, मेंढक को एक सर्प खाता है, सर्प को चील खाता है, चील को कोई शिकारी उड़ा देता है. ये जीवो जीवस्य जीवनम ऐसे दुनिया है. इस दुनिया में हमेशा डर में रहते हैं सब लोग, और लोग जलते हैं दूसरों को देखकर, ईर्ष्या करते हैं, झगड़ा करते हैं. तो अगर हम असली रूप में शांति प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं तो ये दुनिया में तो लहरें हमेशा उठते रहते हैं, विविध तरह के समस्याओं का लहरें. हम इसलिए इस दुनिया से उस दुनिया में जाना चाहिए. ये दुनिया भोग वृत्ति का दुनिया है और वो दुनिया सेवा वृत्ति का दुनिया है. तो ये मैं बता रहा था कि भोग वृत्ति से, भोग से रोग होता है. तो इसलिए हम लोग भोग से ऊपर उठकर सेवा वृत्ति में जुड़ना चाहिए, भगवान की सेवा में। भगवद्गीता में सब लोग सेवा में जुड़े हैं, इसलिए प्रसन्न है। एक छोटा उदाहरण दे रहे थे कि एक कंपनी में एक CEO बड़ा मैनेजर था, उसके कमरे में जाकर कोई नौकर जो था वो सफाई करने के लिए अंदर गया, देखा कि बॉस तो 10 बजे आता है, अभी 9:45 हुआ, थोड़ा मैं बॉस की सीट में बैठ कर देखूं कैसे लगता है रोटेटिंग चेयर, ऐसे सोचकर जाकर बैठ गया। वो अचानक कुछ आवाज सुना, बहुत डर गया ऐसे, तुरंत वो कूद गया बाहर, कोई नहीं आए उधर, फिर भी इतना डर गया उसको, हार्ट अटैक आ गया उसको। क्यों? क्योंकि उसने सोचा कि अगर बॉस आ जाता है अंदर तो मुझे नौकर से निकाल देगा वो। इस तरह वो नौकर का स्थान है सेवा करना, बॉस का स्थान है वो कुर्सी में बैठना। लेकिन जब बॉस का स्थान प्राप्त करने के लिए प्रयत्न किया ये सेवक, इसलिए वो डर गया वो, है ना। इसी तरह हिरण्यकशिपु को प्रहलाद ने बोला, पिताजी आप भोक्ता नहीं हो, आप सेवक हो भगवान के। और भगवान है सर्वलोक महेश्वरम, आप त्रिलोक अधिपति नहीं हो, आज हो आप कल नहीं रहोगे, लेकिन भगवान शाश्वत पुरुष है, शाश्वत भगवान है। तो इस तरह के हम भागवत में बहुत फाउंडेशनल महत्वपूर्ण विषयों के बारे में हम सीखेंगे। सही ढंग से हम तात्पर्यों के साथ अगर हम अध्ययन करते हैं भागवत प्रभुपाद जी के, परमानंद को हम प्राप्त करेंगे। शृण्वत श्रद्धया नित्यं गृणतश्च सुचेष्टितं कालेन नातिदीर्घेण भगवान विशते हृदि। भागवत को श्रद्धा पूर्वक श्रवण करना चाहिए। शृण्वत श्रद्धया नित्यम, रोज ध्यान पूर्वक सुनना चाहिए उसको, नित्यम रोज पढ़ना चाहिए। और गृणतश्च स्वचेष्टितम, हमें स्वचेष्टा करना चाहिए, अपेक्षा नहीं करना चाहिए कि हमेशा कोई हमारे पीछे पड़ेंगे हमको बताएंगे पढ़ो पढ़ो करके। हमारे अंदर भी रुचि होना चाहिए। जैसे आप लोग आज सब लोग तुरंत कट करके ज्वाइन कर लिया जूम में, आपकी उत्साह देखने को मिला हमको, इतने उत्साही हैं आप सब लोग। इस तरह उत्साही होना चाहिए भागवत पढ़ने के लिए। कालेन न अतिदीर्घेण भगवान विशते हृदि, भगवान हरि भगवान कृष्ण हमारे हृदय में अपने सुंदर दर्शन को प्रदान करेंगे जब हम भागवत को रुचि के साथ पढ़ते हैं। इस तरह बताया गया उधर। परस्परानुकतनं पावनं भगवत यशः मितो रतिर्मितस्तुष्टिर्निवृत्तिर्मित आत्मनः। यह श्लोक में बताया गया भागवत में, हम अकेले नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए भागवत, भक्तों के संग में आकर अध्ययन करना चाहिए। क्यों? क्योंकि भक्तों के संग में आकर पढ़ते समय और श्रवण करते समय, चर्चा करते समय अलग अलग भक्तों के हृदय में, भक्तों के जीवन में उनके पास जो भी सद्गुण हो उससे हम प्रभावित होंगे। किसी भक्त के पास नम्रता है, किसी भक्त के हृदय में दृढ़ता है, किसी भक्त के पास धैर्य रखा हुआ, कोई भक्त बड़े उत्साही है, कोई भक्त साक्षात्कारी है। तो इस तरह अलग अलग भक्तों की दिव्य गुणों को देखकर हम प्रभावित होंगे। इसलिए आप देखेंगे भगवान श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु वो गदाधर पंडित के यहाँ आते थे, छोटा गोपीनाथ में, सब वैष्णव के साथ, नित्यानंद प्रभु के साथ, हरिदास ठाकुर, सनातन गोस्वामी, रूप गोस्वामी, चैतन्य महाप्रभु सब बैठकर गदाधर पंडित पढ़कर सुनाते थे, वो लोग सुनते थे ऐसे। तो इस तरह भक्तों को संग में आकर श्रवण करना चाहिए भक्तों को, इस तरह। इसी तरह अद्वैताचार्य प्रभु नवद्वीप धाम में वो लीडर थे, वो सब वैष्णव के, वो भी वैष्णव को बुलाकर घर में स्टडी सर्कल करते थे, ऐसे ही भागवतम स्टडी सर्कल, जिसमें विश्वरूप भी जाते थे उधर। कभी कभी निमाय, छोटे निमाय उनको बुलाने के लिए जाते थे। इसका मतलब क्या है, सब वैष्णव साथ में आकर पढ़ते हैं भागवत। तो इस तरह रामानंद राय और चैतन्य महाप्रभु वो भी साथ में आकर सुनते हैं। इस तरह सनातन गोस्वामी जब अपने नौकरी को छोड़कर, नवाब शाह के पास छोड़कर घर में आकर बैठकर अनेक ब्राह्मणों को, वैष्णवों को बुलाकर इकट्ठित करके साथ में भागवत का अध्ययन किया। इस तरह मैं आपको अनेक उदाहरण में दे सकता हूँ आपको। ये सब उदाहरण क्यों मैं दे रहा हूँ, भागवत साथ में आकर अध्ययन करने से बहुत आसानी से समझ में आ जाता है, भक्तों के संग में। अकेले पढ़ने से भी और अच्छा ज्यादा लाभ है भागवत पढ़ने से। लास्ट में एक पॉइंट बोल कर मैं प्रवचन को विराम देता हूँ। आगे मदन सुंदर प्रभु, रेवतीपति वो लोग बोलेंगे। भागवत के अंदर 5 लाभ बताया गया है भागवत के अध्ययन से। यत शृण्वतो अपैत्यरतिर्वितृष्णा सत्पं च शुद्ध्यत्तचिरेण पुंसः भक्तिर्हरो तत्पुरुषे च सख्यं तदैव हारं मदमन्यसे चेत्। इस श्लोक में बताया गया कि यत शृण्वतो, भागवत का श्रवण करने से, भागवत को श्रवण करने से क्या होता है, 5 लाभ बोलते हैं। क्या क्या है? अपैति अरति, हमारे अंदर अरति चला जाता है। अरति का मतलब है कभी कभी बोर्डम होता है हमको, वो चला जाता है। जैसे छोटे बच्चे होते हैं उनको खिलाना मुश्किल है, भोजन खिलाना, भाग जाते हैं, लेकिन बड़े होने के बाद आप अपने प्लेट लेकर आके बैठ कर खाते हो आप। इसी तरह है, भागवत श्रवण करते 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 अरुचि मिट जाएगा और रुचि जग जाएगा। पहला बताते हैं अपैति अरति। वितृष्णा का मतलब क्या है? हमारे अंदर काम क्रोध लोभ का एक वेग है, वो वेग आग जैसा है, वो आग बुझ जाएगा, वितृष्णा बोलते हैं। जैसे आपका भूख होता है, भोजन खाने के बाद आप तृप्त हो जाते हो, इस तरह से भागवत पढ़ने के बाद एक तृप्ति मिल जाता है हमको, आत्म तृप्ति। तो दूसरा है वितृष्णा। सत्वम च शुद्ध्यति, इसका मतलब है चित्त का शुद्धि होता है भागवत पढ़ने से। अभी हमारे चित्त एक आईने से तुलना किया, आईने के ऊपर अगर धूली पड़ा हो, उसको एक गीला कपड़ा लेकर पोंछने से वो धूल मिट जाता है, एकदम चकाचक दिखाई देता है आपको चेहरा। इस तरह भागवत पढ़ने से हमारा चित्त शुद्ध हो जाता है। सत्वम च शुद्ध्यति अचिरेण पुंसः, एक व्यक्ति के चित्त जल्दी शुद्ध हो जाता है। और भक्ति हरऊ, भगवान हरि के लिए भक्ति जग जाता है। अचानक आप देखेंगे भागवत पढ़ते पढ़ते भगवान कृष्ण के बारे में सुनते सुनते, हरे कृष्ण कितने कोमल हैं, हम कितने अच्छा मुस्कुराते हैं, कैसे चलते हैं, कैसे बोलते हैं, कैसे लीला करते हैं, कैसे उनके दिव्य गुण हैं। इस तरह आप अद्भुत कृष्ण के अद्भुत कर्मों को देखकर आप विस्मित हो जाएंगे आप, और आपको कृष्ण को देखने के लिए इच्छा हो जाएगा। कब समय आएगा मैं कृष्ण को मैं मिलूं, कब मैं उनको सेवा दे सकूं। इस तरह का एक तरह का आपके अंदर प्रेमा भक्ति जग जाएगा। भक्ति हरऊ तत्पुरुषेत सख्यम, और भगवान के भक्तों की ओर अपराध भावना नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन प्रेम बढ़ जाएगा भगवान के भक्तों की ओर। तो इस तरह भागवत के अंदर ही 5 आशीर्वाद दिया गया है। परीक्षित महाराज बताते हैं भागवत अध्ययन करने का लाभ। So I spoke in English in the beginning. Now I'll conclude with English. I was telling in Hindi now that Bhagavatam should not be studied alone. Bhagavatam should be studied with devotees. Of course, some of you may feel that you want to contemplatively study Bhagavatam, which is all right. Some time of the day you can study alone also. But by studying with devotees, we have immense benefits. And I was giving evidences for what I am saying. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to Tota Gopinath temple, meet Gadadhar Pandit, and sit along with Nityananda Prabhu and Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Haridas Thakur. They all would sit and listen together when Gadadhar Pandit would read Bhagavatam. In same manner, Advaitacharya Prabhu in Navadvip Dham would sit with all Vaishnavas. He was the leader of the Vaishnavas. He would assemble Vaishnavas and do reading of the Bhagavatam. Vishwarupa used to go there. A small Nimai would go to call him to come home. I was also quoting an example of Sanatana Goswami when he retired from government job, of Nawab and Shah. He was sitting at home and they called Brahmanas and Vaishnavas in a big circle and they all sat and studied Bhagavatam. You find that. So Bhagavatam is always studied in a group of devotees coming together, reading together. And what is the advantage in reading together? Parasparanukathanam pavanam bhagavatyashah. I was telling that Parasparanukathanam means when mutually people nourish each other by studying Bhagavatam together, by seeing the conviction of others, by seeing the enthusiasm of others, by seeing the ecstasy of others, by seeing the sincerity of others, by understanding and realization of other devotees. We get thrilled. Wow, if that devotee is getting so much joy in studying Bhagavatam, I wish I experienced that ecstasy myself in my life. So like that, we develop a greed for advancing in spiritual life by coming in association of devotees. So, and also, Bhagavatam itself says that Srinvada Shraddhyanityam, we should hear Bhagavatam with great transcendental faith. We should hear it daily. And it also says Nityam, Swacheshtitam. We should make an effort ourselves. Nobody need to phone call us again and again. Are you joining? Are you joining? Are you coming today or not? No, we don't need any follow-up. Swacheshtitam. He says by our own effort, we should quickly join, just like you all joined today. But this enthusiasm should continue for a prolonged period of time. Krishna wants consistency. He just doesn't want enthusiasm from only the first day. He wants to see this enthusiasm continuing. And then it is said that Lord Krishna will very quickly appear in your heart and you will see the smiling form of Lord Krishna in your heart. Initially, we attain Krishna with our ears, then eventually we'll see him with our eyes. again, and Krishna will enter into our lives so powerfully that every bit of study we do, how like that famous song, Adaram Maduram Vadanam Maduram Nayanam Maduram Kamanam Maduram Hridayam Maduram. Like that it goes on, Maduram Maduram song. Everything about him is sweet. So that is a culmination of the understanding of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is nectarian. Ruchiram Navam Navam. At every step it is nectarian. And it is beautiful, it is sweet. And we will experience that when we come and regularly study the Bhagavatam. So I was telling the 5 benefits Parikshit Maharaj says, and with that I was about to conclude. He says that Yatashnimato Apaiti Aratir. Initially there will be distaste. Sometimes we feel asleep also in the Bhagavatam class. But don't worry, continue hearing. You will see that the sleep will go away. Taste will come. Just like the newborn children, initially mother gives them breast milk. But eventually when the children grow when they grow, you find when they're 3 or 4, mothers struggle a lot to feed them food. They go from here and there, they will go to another room. But when you grow up, nobody needs to chase after you for food. You take your plate and come and sit and eat. Like that, Bhagavatam, initially people have to follow us up. Are you coming or not? Once you develop a taste, you will come running to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like the mango. If you have eaten a mango and left in your room, somebody is battering the door, you will quickly attend to them and come back and again eat the mango. Like that, you will come for Bhagavatam class. You will come running. I want to continue reading where I left last time. Like that. And Vitrishna means our hankerings arising from lust, anger, and greed will be finished. You will feel a satisfaction. Trupti, you will experience. And our mind will be cleaned. The mind is compared to a mirror, which is like a dusty mirror. You can take a wet cloth and wipe it out and it will be looking clean. Like that, our mind becomes clean. And the more the mind and heart become clean, you feel great happiness, cheerfulness, you experience. And then he says the 4th one, you become a devotee of Lord Hari, Bhaktir Harau. You become a devotion to Lord Hari will be experienced by us, which means you feel fervent devotion. You are fond of taking darshan of the deities. You're fond of chanting more rounds. You're fond of going to Holy Dham like that. You become a devotee. And lastly, he says, you become a devotee of the devotees, servant of the servant of the servant of devotees, because you start developing reverence and appreciation for devotees, understanding, my Lord, devotees are so wonderful. So these 5 benefits will be achieved by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. And today is the very first day. So we are having a brief talk. Myself, Madan Sundar Prabhu and Revatipati are speaking just 20 minutes each. We started a bit late today. So let us hear from them also, Madan Sundar Prabhu and Revatipati Prabhu. So I congratulate all of you for your enthusiasm. And I thank Madan Sundar Prabhu and the Evolve Pune team of devotees who are putting up this program. And they have been coming up with various initiatives, benefiting thousands of people across the globe. It's a very wonderful community. Evolve Pune, spearheaded by Madan Sundar Prabhu, along with Anand Shesh Prabhu and Sundari Mataji. They are very wonderful team and many other senior devotees there. I congratulate all of you for joining this, and let us make this happen successfully. And I pray that by Lord Krishna's blessings, may this group expand bigger and bigger and bigger, and let there be multiple groups studying in multiple languages. Thank you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Just want to take this opportunity to tell everyone the whole idea for this program of Srimad Bhagavatam study actually has come from his case Radheshyam Prabhu itself. Prabhuji ने कई बार हमें बताया कि ISKCON पुणे और पुणे कम्युनिटी में भागवतम स्टडी सर्कल्स होने चाहिए. तो अभी क्योंकि ये लॉकडाउन सेमी लॉकडाउन चल ही रहा है, पिछले 2 साल से सभी भक्तवृंद ऑनलाइन आकर पढ़ने के लिए दे हैव बिकम मोर अकस्टम्ड. तो उसी का फायदा उठाते हुए हमने सोचा क्यों ना हम लोग साथ में आकर ये ऑनलाइन भागवतम को स्टार्ट करते हैं. तो जब मैंने ये प्रभु जी को बताया था तो प्रभु जी वॉज वेरी हैप्पी. और प्रभु जी का ही प्लान था कि हम इस प्रकार एक ओरिएंटेशन सेशन रखें जहाँ प्रभु जी इसके रेवतीपति प्रभु एंड माई सेल्फ विल कम एंड स्पीक शॉर्टली and then we start our program. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Whatever we are trying to do is all because of your inspiration and guidance. Seeking your blessings, we have around 700 people who have signed up for this program. And there are around 300 plus people who are watching it right now, 100 on Zoom and 200 plus on YouTube. तो जैसे प्रभु जी ने बताया consistency, so let's hope we'll remain consistent and we'll share more information about this program with all of you in our upcoming sessions. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Revatipati Prabhu, in case if you are there, because Prabhuji had DD service to attend to, the program coordinator, can anyone see? Revatipati Prabhu.
Revatipati was there. He was there. I saw him.
Yes, Prabhuji, actually, because he has to go to Kunj Vihari temple to do some DT service at the last minute.
Okay.
So
you can start. You can speak, then he can do after you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay, just was checking if in case Revatipati was there. If not, okay, all right. So Hare Krishna, everyone. Actually, Revatipati was supposed to be here. He was here, but he had to rush for some last minute DT service. So as an instruction of Radheshyam Prabhu, I'll just take it forward. So Prabhuji had requested me to speak for some time or some few minutes on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam's or the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam or the need of Srimad Bhagavatam in modern life. I'm just going to speak 3 points, what I learned from Prabhuji's presentation in class only. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as his case Radheshyam Prabhuji was explaining, and as Srimad Bhagavatam itself speaks about, it's Amala Puran. And the wisdom of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we know, the sequence of our study, it begins with Bhagavad Gita, and where Bhagavad Gita ends, from there Srimad Bhagavatam starts. If Bhagavad Gita is about the philosophy of life, then Srimad Bhagavatam is about the life of all those devotees who perfected their life by following the philosophy given in Bhagavad Gita. And it's not only about the lives of those perfected devotees, it's also about Lord Shri Krishna himself. Those life stories which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not that from the day one, from the beginning of their appearance or from their birth, they all were perfected. Some of them were just ordinary living entities, but by the grace of Guru, Gauranga, by the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, by their power of bhakti and the practice of bhakti, they all perfected their life. So in essence, the message of Bhagavad Gita, just like is an eternal message beyond time, place, and circumstances, so does the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll just make 3 points of relevance for the time frame that we have for discussion, and after that, we'll have a small presentation on about how this program will be conducted. The very first point about this relevance of Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam teaches us how to convert or transform misfortune into a fortune. Crisis is a part of everyone's life. Crisis is inevitable. यहाँ तक कि श्रीमद् भगवद गीता में भगवान श्री कृष्ण स्वयं कहते हैं, this material world is nothing but dukhalayam. So crisis is definitely going to come in everyone's life, or might have come in everyone's life, and would there be in the future also. That's the nature of the world. How do we deal with the crisis? Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us how we can transform misfortune into fortune. To give you one example, the very first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the very first story of Narada the boy. Narad Muni, we all know of Narad Muni, but now the story is of the previous life of Narad Muni. How Narad Muni became Narad Muni was a question by Srila Vyasadeva to Narada or Narad Muni, and he began to speak about his past life. In essence, in short, Narad Muni explained how in previous life, when he was 5-year-old boy, born to Shudrani, how he got the association of the great devotees of the Lord. Long story short, we'll be discussing all this thing. But when he was just 5-year-old boy, his mother, who was the only shelter for this boy, passed away. But before this incident, Narada the boy had got association of the great devotees of the Lord, from whom he learned the glories of the Lord, glories of bhakti. And remembering that instructions of the Mahabhagavatas, in general, anyone would have thought of, could have thought many things, could have thought of giving up life, could have thought of, really misusing one's life. Now there is nobody to take care of him. But this Narada boy, 5-year-old boy, remembering the instructions of the Mahabhagavatas, left to the forest to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he succeeded. And that's how that boy in his next life was awarded with the spiritual body, became the pure devotee of the Lord, Narad Muni. One small example, how just a small boy 5-year-old boy transformed the misfortune into fortune. When we move few chapters forward in the first canto, then there is another classic example, that's of Parikshit Maharaj, the king of the whole world, Raj Rishi, loved and praised by everyone, regardless of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, everyone. That personality was cursed by a Brahmana boy for very, very minor, insignificant offense. Parikshit Maharaj could have counteracted. He could have taken a revenge, but he did not decide to do so. Sukdev Goswami calls Parikshit Maharaj as Manishina. Manishina means the best of the souls, a pure soul, a great devotee of the Lord. Why Sukdev Goswami addressed Parikshit Maharaj as Manishina? Because Parikshit Maharaj took that opportunity, or rather saw an opportunity in misfortune and converted that misfortune into fortune by taking wholeheartedly shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. परीक्षित महाराज को जब पता चलता है कि 7 दिनों में उनकी मृत्यु हो जाएगी श्राप के कारण, उन्होंने बिना हिचकिचाहट वो तुरंत अपना राज्यकाल, अपना परिवार, सब कुछ छोड़कर जंगल में चले जाते हैं भगवान की शरण लेने के लिए. And that's a place where he gets the opportunity to meet Sukdev Goswami. And through that association and interaction, all of us have the privilege to study and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We fast forward 3rd canto Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Vidurji. How Vidur was chastised, rebuked by Duryodhan, who happened to be his nephew, you can call it. And he insulted Vidurji, who was always his best wisher. And he kind of literally threw him out of the kingdom with nothing. Vidurji could have taken revenge, या Vidurji हो सकता था मन में दुर्योधन के प्रति घृणा लेकर जा सकते थे. तो Vidurji saw an opportunity जहां एक आम आदमी केवल होपलेसनेस देखता, वहां पे विदुरजी को होप नजर आई. And he took that as an opportunity and he walked away and he traveled all the tirthas, met the great devotees of the Lord like Maitreya Muni and heard about the glories of the Lord. 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj. Like that, there are plenty of examples. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, it transforms our consciousness. It fills our consciousness with the wonderful real life examples and teaches us what course of action we should do when we are faced with such similar situations. Situations could be different, but circumstances where we feel hopelessness and whatnot. So that was the first point about converting misfortune into fortune. Second lesson, coming out of comfort zone. Srimad Bhagavatam, जब भी हम श्रीमद् भागवतम का ध्यान पूर्वक अध्ययन करते हैं, उनके अंदर अनेक उदाहरण, प्रेरणादायक कहानियां दी हुई हैं जिससे व्यक्ति को भक्ति करने की, तीव्रता से भक्ति करने की इच्छा जागृत होती है. It inspires a person to become serious, sincere, and simultaneously wants the readers to stay alert to distractions. And the example for it is of Bharat Maharaj. The great king, the great personality, gave up everything for the purpose of achieving perfection of human form of life, for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead at a very advanced stages of bhakti, because he became little, you can say, got into a comfort zone. He got distracted. He got distracted by nothing else than a deer. Now imagine all of us are living in a world where there are abundance of distractions. For Bharat Maharaj, there was no distraction in the forest. He had distractions in his palace, kingdom. He left all those distractions, came to a place where there was no distractions, but he got into a comfortable zone a little bit, because of which he got distracted. We are surrounded by all distractions. The biggest of the distraction is a smartphone, which is always keeps on pinging. So unless we are alert, unless we are conscious, it's very difficult for us to make a progress. So stories like this helps us, warns us. And not only this, many examples from Srimad Bhagavatam helps us, to strengthen our practice of bhakti. Just like Ajamil, regardless of his past, he got an opportunity to go back to Godhead once he became sincere and serious in his Krishna conscious practice. Dhruv Maharaj went back to Godhead. Jad Bharat went back to Godhead. There's so many examples. Narada, the boy, achieved the perfection of human form of life, achieved the grace of the Lord and became the pure devotee Narada Muni, everyone alike has an opportunity. So when we do everyday study, regular systematic study, but naturally we become inspired. So His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu was making a point in this regard, that how do we apply in our life? How do we come out of comfort zone? तो हमें हमेशा हम अपने लिए टारगेट्स रखने चाहिए. आने वाली एकादशी 64 राउंड्स, 32 राउंड्स, stretch out 16 माला 16 माला तो हम डेली ही करते हैं, but we should try to chant a little more, maybe 32 rounds, 64 rounds. Set a target for yourself. God Purnima is coming. Okay, let me try to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, etc. And we are falling in the same direction where we have set a target for all of us to read 3 cantos, the first 3 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, some of you, maybe most of you may be reading every day, but we are creating an environment and a culture jahan hum pratidin, every day we'll try to read 40 to 45 minutes, and we have a target to accomplish. We have set a deadline in next 11 months. In fact, less than 11 months, we'll share the whole schedule with all of you. We're going to read the whole first 3 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is around 55 plus chapters, and for every chapter, there'll be an overview classes. So it's a target. We are setting up a target for ourselves. We are asking for a commitment from all of you, every day 45 minutes commitment, and there will be a Hindi and English overview classes. So that helps us to a little bit remain alert, to come out of a comfort zone. So that was an example or second lesson, to come out of comfort zone. The third lesson, there are many lessons, but the third lesson that we can pinpoint right now from Srimad Bhagavatam is it teaches on the topic of self-management, how to improve oneself and how to control, restrain one's lower nature. Somebody has a tendency to become angry. Some people have this nature of being short-tempered. Then they can read Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many examples that would warn them not to become angry. The fourth canto or fifth canto talks about Durvasa Muni, not Durvasa Muni, our Daksha, anger of Daksha on Lord Shiva. And if fast forward to 9th canto, then we have Durvasa Muni becoming angry at Amrish Maharaj. And then we know the consequences both Daksha and Durvasa Muni had to face. So when we read such stories, we understand we should give up this lower nature of anger, and we should learn to forgive. Mistakes happens by everyone. It is said to commit error. To be human is to err. Everyone commits some mistakes. We should learn to forgive. And there are stories and examples of forgiveness. Draupadi in the very first canto forgave Ashwathama, who brutally killed her 5 sons while they were asleep. So this is one example of how we can learn to deal with the anger. We have examples and stories which warns us not to act like that. Second example or second self-management tip is of unlawful desires, illicit desires, or desires which are against the laws of dharma. One example is of Ravana. He had everything with him, yet he went against the desire and wishes of everyone, and he kidnapped Mother Sita. And we know what was the consequence. It was a self-destruction. So when we're talking of the self-management, the lessons of self-management from Bhagavatam, it helps us, protect us from the path of self-destruction. So when it comes to unlawful desires like this, then it teaches us, or we learn, we should replace this unlawful desire, or we learn rather, that we should not make plans for it. Ravana was warned by everyone, do not do it. Marich warned him, but he did not listen, and he ended up his own destruction, not only his own destruction, the destruction of his whole dynasty. So, like this, an example. Then we have examples of envy, so many examples of it. In case of envy, it's just an inherent nature of every conditioned living entity who is in this world. Srimad Bhagavatam की शुरुआत ही पहला चैप्टर दूसरा श्लोक बताया जाता है, ये श्रीमद् भागवतम बना ही निर्मल सरानाम नॉन एनवियस लोगों के लिए है, परंतु उसमें ऐसे उदाहरण दिए गए हैं जो हमें वार्न करते हैं that we should be careful of our envious nature. चित्रकेतु महाराज की कहानी आती है जहां बताया जाता है कि कितने समय, लंबे समय के इंतजार के बाद उनको पुत्र प्राप्त होता है ब्राह्मणों और साधुओं की कृपा के बाद, परंतु उनकी अनेक पत्नियां होती हैं, क्योंकि उनका एक पुत्र पैदा हुआ है एक पत्नी के माध्यम से, बाकी पत्नियां बहुत द्वेष करने लगती हैं। उस पुत्र का नाम था हर्ष शोक, और द्वेष के कारण उस छोटे से बालक को मार देती हैं, ये जानते हुए भी कि ये बालक उनके पति राजा चित्रकेतु का प्राण है, उनकी सारी उम्मीद है, आशा का कारण है। Yet they became so envious and they killed the small innocent child. And we know the consequence. They had to regret, they had to repent, what not. मंत्रा का उदाहरण आता है, उसके कारणवश क्या क्या नहीं हुआ। उसने केकई का मन दूषित करा, साथ ही साथ अंत में दशरथ महाराज को प्राण त्यागने पड़े। So when it comes to this nature of envy, we learn that we should learn to tolerate it. We should not act on it. And there are examples simultaneously for this. Similarly, we can take one more attribute on self-management is of attraction to worldliness. जब मन के अंदर दोबारा एक बार फिर इस भौतिक जगत के प्रति आकर्षण पैदा होना शुरू हो, तो व्यक्ति अगर भागवतम का ध्यान पूर्वक अध्ययन करे तो उसको ऐसे कई कई उदाहरण एग्जाम्पल्स प्राप्त होंगे कि उसको समझ आएगा कि इस दुनिया में सुख के लिए कुछ भी नहीं है। 9वें स्कंद के अंदर ही ऐसे कई उदाहरण आते हैं। ययाति, राजक, पुरुरुवा, उनके उदाहरणों से पता चलता है कि वो कितने आसक्त थे, परंतु उस आसक्ति के कारण, भौतिक सुख की आसक्ति के कारण सिर्फ उनको अपने जीवन में दुख और दुखी प्राप्त हुआ। किसी को लगता है ये पृथ्वी, भौतिक दुनिया, मेरा भारत और whichever country we belong to बहुत खूबसूरत है, कितना अच्छा एडवांसमेंट हो रहा है, तो 5वां स्कंद उठा के पढ़ लीजिएगा जहाँ इस पूरे ब्रह्मांड का वर्णन किया गया है। तो अगर आप उसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे तो इस पृथ्वी के प्रति आपका कोई आकर्षण नहीं रह जाएगा। सो ऐसे अनेक अनेक उदाहरण एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, तो ताकि हमें इसमें मदद मिल सके। साथ ही साथ ये नहीं, श्रीमद् भागवतम actually teaches us with so many examples that how this world is temporary, impermanent. तो जो भी हमारी आसक्तियां हैं इस ज्ञान के माध्यम से नष्ट होती हैं। जैसे भगवान श्री कृष्ण भगवद गीता में स्वयं कहते हैं 15वें अध्याय में, अगर व्यक्ति को अपने इस भौतिक जगत के प्रति आसक्ति को त्यागना है तो ज्ञान के व्यापार से उसको तोड़ देना चाहिए। So that is what Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us. In essence, हमने आज कैसे ये भागवतम का ज्ञान हमारे जीवन में लागू होता है उसके लिए हमने 3 उदाहरण या 3 लेसन्स की चर्चा करी। सबसे पहले भागवतम सिखाता है, श्रीमद् भागवतम का ज्ञान सिखाता है कि कैसे हम अपने जीवन में आने वाली विपदा को या मिसफॉर्च्यून को फॉर्च्यून में बदल सकते हैं। दूसरा हमने लेसन चर्चा किया how to come out of comfort zone, how to remain alert, or how to become alert, how to become sincere and serious. और तीसरा लेसन हमने चर्चा करा था on the principles of self management. कैसे भागवतम की कहानियां, भागवतम का निर्देश हमें सिखाता है कि हमें अपने जीवन का मार्गदर्शन कैसे करना चाहिए, बुरी आदतों से कैसे बचना चाहिए और उन बुरी आदतों के खिलाफ किस प्रकार का हमें व्यवहार करना चाहिए। ये सिर्फ संक्षिप्त में वर्णन है क्योंकि आज केवल एक ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम है और प्रभु जी की इच्छा थी कि हम इस विषय पे थोड़ा चर्चा करें, तो जो उनसे सीखा वही हमने दोहराने का प्रयत्न किया। तो I would believe Revatipati Prabhu would not be here because now he would be probably on the altar addressing the deities. So no worries, we are starting this program. First session हमारे दोनों बैचेस चल रहे हैं, हिंदी और इंग्लिश के। तो वेडनेसडे से जो हिंदी में जिन्होंने भाग लिया है तो उनके लिए वेडनेसडे इवनिंग को 7 बजे शाम को हिंदी में पहले स्कंद का पहले चैप्टर का ओवरव्यू रहेगा। और जो अंग्रेजी भाषा, those who have taken part in the English group, for them their English reading and the program begins on coming Friday, and the overview class would happen in the morning from 8 to 9 a.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. And we'll share more details on your respective groups. At this point of time, I would ask our coordinator, Shikhar Prabhu, to give you a small presentation. Many of you had questions about how this program would be conducted. So he'll just give you a brief presentation. It'll take another 5 minutes. We'll have this weekly classes. We'll have this weekly target, जहाँ पे हम chapter खत्म करेंगे. And all of you are welcome to give your feedback and opinions. In case you think we can do it in a better way, we're there to listen to you and apply whatever possible to serve you best. And that's it at my end. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to his guest Radheshyam Prabhu as well as his guest Revatipati Prabhu who was here, but because of his some last minute service, he could not be. But he would be joining you next week. He'll be speaking on the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. For this week, I would be speaking on the first chapter, and then the next week, his guest Revatipati Prabhu will be giving the overview. Shikhar Prabhu, back to you. You can give your small presentation. Thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you to his guest Radheshyam Prabhu and his guest Madan Sundar Prabhuji for this wonderful orientation session. Now I quickly like to share my screen and go through the PPT and how this course is structured. तो हम इस कोर्स को कैसे करने वाले हैं उसके बारे में कुछ चर्चा करेंगे. मैं आशा करता हूँ आपको मेरी स्क्रीन दिख रही होगी. Let me maximize it. ओके. तो जैसे कि मदन सुंदर प्रभु जी ने बताया कि ये भागवत लाइव प्रोग्राम है जिसमें हम सिस्टमैटिक स्टडी करने वाले हैं श्रीमद् भागवतम की कैंटो 1 to 3. तो स्कंद 1 से 3 तक हम इसकी स्टडी करेंगे. 11 महीने में ये प्लान है. ये कैसे काम करेगा? फर्स्ट इज वी हैव रजिस्ट्रेशन एट द इवॉल्व पुणे वेबसाइट एंड दिस इज अवेलेबल इन बोथ इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी. ये हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों भाषाओं में उपलब्ध है. वी हैव अ डेडिकेटेड व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप फॉर बोथ ऑफ दीज लैंग्वेजेस. तो हमारे पास व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है जिसमें इंग्लिश का अलग व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है, हिंदी का अलग व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप है. उसके बाद प्रभु जी जस्ट मेंशन दैट वी हैव अ वीकली ओवरव्यू क्लास फॉर एवरी चैप्टर फॉर नेक्स्ट चैप्टर टू बी रीड. ओके. तो हिंदी क्लास इज दिस वेडनेसडे ओनली. तो हिंदी की जो क्लास होगी पहले स्कंद के पहले चैप्टर का जो ओवरव्यू होगा वो 7 से 8 PM IST शाम को 7 से 8 बजे है. एंड ओवरव्यू ऑफ इंग्लिश क्लास विल बी ऑन फ्राइडे 8 to 9 AM. सुबह 8 से 9 के बीच में इंग्लिश का ओवरव्यू रहेगा. देन एवरीडे रीडिंग टारगेट्स विल बी शेयर्ड ऑन द व्हाट्सएप और थ्रू वीकली ईमेल. और मीन्स दोनों पे भेजा जाएगा. तो जिसके पास व्हाट्सएप की सुविधा है व्हाट्सएप से, जो मेल से कनेक्टेड है वो मेल से. तो विल सेंड अ रीडिंग टारगेट. सबको आप कितने पेज कंप्लीट करना है उसका एक रीडिंग टारगेट मिलेगा. उसके बाद जो 5th पॉइंट है विच इज वी हैव टू कंप्लीट आवर रीडिंग टारगेट एंड मार्क द अटेंडेंस फॉर द डे. हमें जैसे ही वो रीडिंग टारगेट कंप्लीट हो जाता है हमें इन्फॉर्म करना है एंड दैट विल मार्क एज अटेंडेंस फॉर दैट डे. पॉइंट नंबर 6 is when we complete the chapter we need to solve a quiz to test our understanding. This is just for sake that what we learn from the chapter. A summarized questions होंगे उस चैप्टर के ऊपर जो हमें सॉल्व करने होंगे. This is self-reading initiative, but if devotees want, we have a group reading sessions as well. We'll announce it soon about it. तो वैसे तो ये खुद से प्रेरित होकर करने वाला सेशन रहेगा पूरा, बट इन केस अगर आप भक्तों के साथ समूह में आके पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो उसके लिए हम ग्रुप बनाएंगे जिसका अनाउंसमेंट हम अगले सत्र में कर देंगे. पोस्ट कंप्लीशन ऑफ ऑल रीडिंग टारगेट एंड क्विज़ेस विल गेट अ सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ कंप्लीशन एंड रिकॉग्निशन. जैसे ये सारे टारगेट कंप्लीट होगा उसका एक सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ कंप्लीशन एंड रिकॉग्निशन होगा जो कि इवॉल्व पुणे वेबसाइट पे सैंपल भी दिया हुआ है कि वो कैसा होगा. नाउ टिप्स फॉर रीडिंग एवरी डे. So this photo actually shows कि ऐसा नहीं करना है for completing our reading target. कैसा करना है वो इस पॉइंट्स में लिखा हुआ है. Daily 35 to 40 minutes is sufficient. We need to just follow the reading target assigned by the program coordinator. तो program coordinator में बताएगा कि आज इस चैप्टर के इस लाइन से किस श्लोक तक कंप्लीट करना है, उतना हमें स्टडी करनी है. उसके बाद सेकंड है कि हम खुद से भी इसको प्लान कर सकते हैं. We can divide the number of verses in the chapter by 7. So this will actually target, okay, in a week we'll complete one chapter. And then third method is we can divide the number of pages, total number of pages by 7. So again, it will give you an idea. Okay, in a week I'll divide this. Let's example, right? There are 56 pages. If you divide 7, it comes 8. That means 8 pages we need to read. Just an example. Okay. Now, ये Srimad Bhagavatam, we all prefer that we should have a hard copy of Srimad Bhagavatam during the course completion while reading this course going through. आशा करते हैं आप लोगों के पास बहुत भागवतम की हार्ड कॉपीज होंगी. जिनके पास नहीं है, they can reach out to group coordinator and WhatsApp administrator. And for smooth coordination and facilitate this systematic studies, Evolve Pune is providing a special coupon which will provide 10% discount on Srimad Bhagavatam set, both English and Hindi. The fourth point is very important. Not having hard copy should not stop you from participating in this special study session. किसी के पास नहीं भी है तो भी हम ऑनलाइन उसका लिंक शेयर करेंगे, आप उसके थ्रू कर सकते हैं, बट प्रेफरेंस यही रहती है कि अपने पास नित्यम सेवतम भागवतम का मतलब ही यही है कि भागवतम तभी पढ़ पाएंगे जब घर में हार्ड कॉपी होगी. And for any queries, again, you may reach out to your respective WhatsApp group coordinator and administrator. अभी लोगों को संदेह हो सकता है कि ये हो भी पाएगा, ऐसा हुआ है क्या, भागवतम 11 महीने हम लोग कर पाएंगे क्या कंसिस्टेंसी. We just attaching an example that Evolve Pune just conducted, which is of Bhagavad Gita study group. ये हमने सितंबर से दिसंबर के बीच में ये प्रोग्राम किया था भगवत गीता स्टडी ग्रुप में, जिसमें समरी ऑफ पूरी भगवत गीता की स्टडी करी गई थी. इसमें ऑलमोस्ट 75 मदर्स, माता जी और अराउंड 43 प्रभु जी ने पार्टिसिपेट किया था और 30 बच्चे भी इसमें शामिल थे. They have all completed Bhagavad Gita, and these are some of those feedbacks which is based on the participants of the sessions. तो उन लोगों के कुछ फीडबैक्स भी यहाँ पर अटैच किए गए हैं. दिस प्रोग्राम वाज जस्ट कंक्लूडेड लास्ट वीक बाय हिज ग्रेस संकर्षण दास अधिकारी प्रभु जी ने उसको कंक्लूड किया. So thank you again. You have any question, please feel free to reach out to your WhatsApp group administrator, your coordinator. You can reach out to me as well in case, and then we'll get your query sorted. सबको Evolve Pune के ग्रुप में भी शामिल किए हैं. आपके पास वीकली ईमेल्स आती होंगी, कृपया ध्यान रखें अपने ईमेल्स का. आप अगर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में ज्वाइन है तो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप को ध्यान रखिए मैसेज, एंड देन विल टेक इट फॉरवर्ड. I think I can just stop my presenting here.
Thank you, Shikhar Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And thanks to everyone for joining in. अगर आपके कोई अभी बाई चांस, क्योंकि अगर हम पे समय है, अगर आपका किसी का कोई प्रश्न है इस विषय को लेकर, we can take that.
प्रभुजी, हाँ कुछ hand raised हैं, तो shall I ask them to unmute?
Yes, you can coordinate that.
ठीक है. प्रियंका मोंगा माता जी, आप बोल सकते हैं.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी. क्या जैसे हम भागवतम ना, मैंने पीडीएफ डाउनलोड की हुई है मोबाइल पे, तो हम वो मोबाइल से रीडिंग कर सकते हैं?
यस माता जी, आप कर सकते हैं. पर जो हमारा जैसे रीडिंग टारगेट रहेगा, हमारा रीडिंग टारगेट हार्ड कॉपी के अनुसार रहेगा. तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं, आप वर्सेस वाइज पढ़ सकते हैं, क्योंकि अगर हम पेजेस के वाइज टारगेट देंगे तो आप पीडीएफ में उसको मैप नहीं कर पाएंगे. सो देन व्हाट यू कैन डू, यू कैन फॉलो द वर्सेस वाइज. सो अगर किसी अध्याय में 60 श्लोक है, सो लेट्स से 70 श्लोक है, डिवाइड बाय 7 गिव्स यू 10 श्लोकास पर डे. तो आपको उसका ट्रांसलेशन और परपट दोनों पढ़ रहे हैं. सो दैट बिकम्स योर एवरीडे टारगेट. और हम शाम को करीबन 8 बजे आप सभी के ग्रुप्स में अटेंडेंस का एक लिंक देंगे. तो जब भी आपका फिनिश होता है, आपको उस फॉर्म को में अपना सिर्फ नाम डालना है, एंड अगले दिन हम अनाउंस करेंगे कि किन किन भक्तों ने पढ़ा है. सो दिस इज हाउ इट इंस्पायर्स. आप अपने आप पढ़ेंगे, बस साइमल्टेनियसली आपको एक्टिविटी पता चलती रहेगी कितने भक्त पढ़ रहे हैं. तो किसी कारणवश हम नहीं पढ़ पाए तो अगले दिन जब रिपोर्ट आती है कि 100 भक्तों ने पढ़ा है, मैं ही नहीं पढ़ पाया, तो आज आप डबल कोटा पूरा करेंगे. So that is a point of this kind of thing. Okay, so this would be admin restricted, क्योंकि we don't want too many messages going on. तो आप चिंता मत करिए, वहाँ पे ज्यादा मैसेजेस नहीं जाएंगे, but this is how we'll manage. तो आपको इंस्पिरेशन मिलती रहेगी. And we are munching on the idea of creating subgroups, team leads, etc., to make it more exciting and all that. We'll announce how it works out. क्योंकि थोड़ा बड़ा टारगेट है, तो we'll plan out something more to keep it more exciting, ताकि आप लोग 11 महीने का प्रोजेक्ट है, डिस्कनेक्ट ना हो. We'll keep you on the toes. Okay, mother?
ठीक है. Thank you, प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्णा.
हरे कृष्णा.
Next is Subhashri Mata ji. You can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have
Yes,
got
ma'am.
this through Amazon. This last week I got. This is only first canto.
Yes.
The second and third is not there.
Because you only ordered the first canto.
Oh, so I have to order the second and third also.
Actually,
or
I'm not.
Let's start
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah, you start with this now. See, two things we can do. If it is possible for you to return, you return it. and you can place an order via any of the ISKCON center to get the whole Bhagavatam set. So I am not sure on Amazon. I generally don't go there, but generally we don't have separate cantos available. You know, it's not कि आप second, third, fourth canto order कर सकते हैं. First canto available रहता है.
Nee, this
So
is of Prabhupada only. And,
yeah. So there are 12,
questions by the same.
there are 12 cantos, and
Yeah.
on the 12 cantos you've got the first canto. And we are starting with the 3 cantos, but our target is to finish the 12 cantos in the coming years. So, you know, so you can think of it, either you can want to keep this, you can keep it, or if you have an opportunity to return it back, and you can think of taking the whole canto, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam set.
Okay.
All right,
And
Madan?
one more, Prabhuji, it's on 8 to 9 only. There is no other timings for
those-
batch.
So those, if you're talking for the English session, those all classes would be available on our YouTube channel. So those who in case have missed out, they can always go back on the YouTube channel and watch it. Just
But
like
on
this
Friday,
session.
First class, I'm traveling, so I won't be coming in live Zoom.
No
Is it
worries.
Zoom? Okay.
So just like this session is being live streamed, which means it will be available on YouTube. So all of those sessions would be live streamed. And in case if you're not able to come online on Zoom, you can always switch on to YouTube and check it. Fine.
Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes.
Purabi Chanda Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, as advised, I have my personal copy of Bhagavatam, but it is in Odia language because I was conversant with Odia basically. So I thought to get it in Odia language. So will that be okay, or I need to?
No. You read in Odia, Tamil, whatever language. As I said, इसलिए हमने 3 methods दे रखे हैं. एक तो हम रीडिंग टारगेट अनाउंस करेंगे, और जहाँ पे इस प्रकार के रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस का इशू आता है, तो वहाँ पे आप अपना रीडिंग टारगेट डिसाइड कर सकते हैं बेस्ड ऑन मेथड 2 एंड मेथड 3. जो भी प्रेजेंटेशन हमने आपको दिखाई है, ये प्रेजेंटेशन आपको ईमेल भी कर दी जाएगी और आपके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे भी शेयर होगी. तो आप उसके उसके अकॉर्डिंग अपना टारगेट बना सकते हैं. उतना पढ़िए, और आप अपना टारगेट पूरा करते हैं तो यू मार्क योर अटेंडेंस.
जी जरूर.
All right? Yes.
Okay. धन्यवाद.
Revati Mataji, you may proceed now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Madan.
Prabhuji, I have a doubt. Like the text is there. We have chapter 1, text 1, Janmadhyadhyasya. So will you be teaching the shlokas? Or we have
माता जी 1 घंटे के अंदर श्लोकास तो नहीं होंगे, पर जो कुछ प्रमुख श्लोक हैं उसका रेसिटेशन और उस पर विस्तार से चर्चा की जाएगी, क्योंकि हम ओवरव्यू क्लासेस कर रहे हैं, मतलब संक्षिप्त में पूरे अध्याय के बारे में सारांश बताने का प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं. वो इसलिए ताकि आपको पढ़ने में प्रेरणा मिले. अगर हमें पहले ही पता चल जाए पढ़ने से पहले कि चैप्टर में क्या चर्चा की गई है, तो पढ़ना आसान होता है. अगर आप विस्तार से इन विषय में जानना चाहते हैं तो जो डेडिकेटेड वर्स वाइज क्लासेस होती हैं तो आप वो अटेंड कर सकते हैं.
So it may target may only we have to read the translation purport.
Yes. आप संस्कृत जानते हैं तो संस्कृत भी पढ़िए, नो प्रॉब्लम. पर जो हमने 40 मिनट का टाइम दिया है, we are considering reading translation and purport. See, for those who know Sanskrit, it's very easy. For those who don't know Sanskrit, for them it becomes a little more difficult to read it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And then for them, they have to go word to word meaning to understand that. So that you will not be able to do in 40 minutes your quota.
Yes.
That's the point. इसलिए मैंने कहा 40 to 45 minutes means translation and purport.
Not shlokas.
ठीक है?
प्रभुजी, श्लोकास का लिंक कहीं है अपने इवॉल्व पुणे में?
श्लोका का?
श्लोकास का लिंक, स्टांजास का लिंक जो है, recitation links.
No, not there, but we have devotees like his case, Barang Darshanpu and others will share that. They have recorded their shloka recitations. So हम उसका share करते हैं. I believe उनके YouTube channels पे है. I'll find out a link so you can listen to that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dr. Archana Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My query is like, I have registered myself for the English class because I'm comfortable with the Hindi timing. because I'll be comfortable in the evening time, and the English thing is in the morning. So is it possible for me to shift from English to Hindi because of time?
मतलब दिस इज ओपन प्रोग्राम, आपको जब पसंद हो आना चाहे आए, बट आप एक ग्रुप को ज्वाइन करके रखिए।
Okay.
अगर आप हिंदी ग्रुप को ज्वाइन रखते हैं तो आप हिंदी ग्रुप का पैटर्न फॉलो करिए, क्योंकि वहीं पर आप अपनी अटेंडेंस मार्क करेंगे। क्लास तो इस पब्लिक, तो आपको जब सूट करे, फॉर एग्जांपल आने वाले हफ्ते में, इस हफ्ते में पहला अध्याय दोनों इंग्लिश और हिंदी भाषा में होगा। तो जैसे माता सुभाश्री अभी कह रही थी कि मैं प्रभु जी फ्राइडे अवेलेबल नहीं हूँ, if she wants she can attend the Zoom session on Wednesday evening.
Okay.
You know, so that option you have. So if you want, you can note down Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. IST and Friday morning 8 to 9 a.m. IST. Wednesday is in Hindi and Friday is in English. So if any of your day doesn't match, you have alternative day to also attend. Okay?
Oh, that sounds good.
But stick to one group so that you follow the reading target of that group. Hearing आप कहीं पे भी करिए, दोनों ग्रुप में से किसी का भी, बट रीडिंग टारगेट आप एक ग्रुप को फॉलो करके रखिए ताकि आप उस ग्रुप को फॉलो कर सकें। ओके, यस, हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। चैट पे भी कुछ ऐसा ही प्रश्न देविका सेठ जी का था, मेरे ख्याल से उनको भी उत्तर मिल गया होगा। That yes, you can attend timing whatever suits you, but join one group. Basically, we should have one group, but the classes are open for both English and Hindi. So whatever time suits you, Wednesday or Friday, you may join that. I think we have answered all other questions.
Anything on YouTube? All right. Okay, so Shikhar Prabhu, shall we pause?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, and thank you all audience for joining this. We hope that we continue this enthusiasm all year long. A long road ahead. 3 cantos, 11 months, lot of verses to cover, lot of translation. But
and
with
happy to see some devotees at least. Krishna Chandra Prabhu, remembering our Gita Essence sessions from Malaysia, Prabhuji, right? We were there from Kuala Lumpur, yeah, and many other devotees. So our Bhakti Shastri students are also there. So thank you. Many Bhakti Shastri participants are also there, and many new faces. Maybe we have met or not met, but thank you all for joining in. And being present here today inspires us to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Frankly speaking, I'm doing it for myself so that I get to restudy it. You know, so more than for you, it's for me to study. And while studying, if it gives an opportunity to share, we are sharing it. All right. Thank you once again for joining it. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.